Yo, pull up a chair, let the real talk begin. Faith on the table where the brothers lock in. Life gets heavy, but we stand our ground. Truth in the room when the circle comes round. No mask, no front, just real man here. Talking about faith through the doubt and the fear. From the grind of the week to the lessons we share. Welcome to the men's round table, pull up a chair. Men's round table series, step inside. Real men, real faith where the truths collide. Voices at the table where the stories get shared. Welcome to the men's round table, pull up a chair.
Welcome back to the Men's Roundtable Series Interview Spotlight. I'm your host, Mr. U. If you're watching us for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week, wherever you are and however you're listening to us. We are live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And of course, if you're not aware, this is the sister show to our Men's Roundtable Series podcast every Thursday night, 7 p.m. EST. We got a safe space we created for men to talk about men's issues. Everything you can think of that's a men's issue, we discuss it on that show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Join us in the chat, YouTube, or however you're watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, however you're watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day and your week. In studio with us today, community-based chaplain and the founder and CEO of Community Chaplain Network, also author, leadership coach, and international speaker. My friend Scott Speight is here. Scott, how are you today?
I am wonderful, sir. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic, man. Fantastic. Well, we have a new format, so we're going to get right into it because we don't have a lot of time. But let's go ahead and kind of get a quick synopsis of who you are, where you come from, and how you got to where you are. Then we start talking some more nuts and bolts. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm Scott Speight. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I'm the founder of two organizations, Go Boldly Mastermind, which is a mastermind for men, and Community Chaplain Network, which is it's a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit, where I train men and women to become board certified chaplains. We also provide chaplains to local businesses and organizations and individuals. And getting ready to build out something huge with that. It's going to be huge for chaplains and pastors, a much bigger network just for them with tons of resources and opportunities. Just trying to give back in every way I can. I'm a chaplain in the Army Reserves. My promotion, I just came out on the promotion list. So as soon as the order drops, I'll be a lieutenant colonel. And on me for 17 years. So, yeah.
Congrats, man. Congratulations. So we essentially have an all-male audience. So I definitely want to speak to the men that are watching and listening because we always have something to offer, an actionable tip and strategy. But your life is so incredible. I want to kind of bring out some of what you do and see if we can help out some of our listeners today. So you spent your years walking with people who, as a chaplain, I can relate to that. My wife and I was a chaplain for about a year. So we kind of can relate. It's not a long time, but we learned a lot in that year about people in crisis, especially in the prison system. When you zoom in on your own life, Scott, what do you think was a personal breaking point for you that kind of let you know that restoration had to begin?
You know, something that I always tell my students and I always tell men is that we've all got a story. And some of our stories are broken. Some of our stories are hero stories. Some of our stories are better than others, worse than others, and we've all got a story. But in everyone's story, there's always a point where someone's had a downtime or a period or some type of event, a loss of some sort, and that was certainly the case for me. Multiple losses throughout my life, and I actually wouldn't be doing what I do today if my father hadn't have suffered a job loss when I was in the 7th grade. And it has just played out over the years. And so we are a generational part of not the curse, but the losses that our fathers and our grandfathers experienced as well. And so I think for me, it's recognizing that we can overcome those things, and that for most of the stuff that we face, it's temporary. We hit these down times, and they're just temporary times. And I always say that there is always an other side. OTHER. There is always an other side. We just have to get to that other side.
That makes a lot of sense, man. pretty profound stuff. Where's a moment, Scott, where you as a man had to confront some things regarding your identity that required some healing?
When I was in Germany 2 years ago, I was training Ukrainian chaplains, and I have in some ways kind of, when I talk about what I do, I've always hidden the word chaplain, and I always say, well, I'm a counselor, because I am a counselor. I've got a master's degree in counseling that the Army sent me for, but I never wanted to, because it always puts people on guard, and it always, I always worry about what people think about me. And I had somebody say to me while I was in Germany, they said, "Not very authentic." And I was like, well, crap. And I'll be honest, my first thought was, well, screw you. Just, who do you think you are? But then I stepped back and I realized they were absolutely 100% right. I wasn't authentic to my identity. I wasn't authentic to who I'm called to be. I wasn't being authentic to my titles. And that's something that I've always wanted to be confident and competent, but never cocky. And so I don't get wrapped up in titles. And I find that so many men get wrapped up in their titles, and that becomes their identity versus who they really are.
Big time. We talk about it a lot on the round table on Thursday nights. It's one of those things where we kind of follow the unwritten playbook. It's how we jokingly call it, the false narrative that men should do this, specifically this, and do it this way, and we need to deal with the fact that a lot of those things are, and I don't mean throwing out everything that's traditional, because I'm not really saying that, but it's something that antiquated that don't line up with where things actually are. Sometimes adjustments required. If you run a system and you never change anything in it to make room for evolving changes and things, it's going to be a rigid, stubborn looking system, and probably it's going to put out a lot of folks that you may want to have be involved in and associated with it. So just a thought there. One of the things that I love that you talk about is kind of just dealing with a lot of things that men deal with. You have definitely a strong arm in that regard in your community-based work, and then your leadership coaching as well. We'll get to it in a minute. But for yourself, what's the biggest challenge, Scott, that you've seen in men that I would ask is overlooked, neglected, or not faced consistently enough?
I would say recognizing who they are and really building on that identity. But the second thing I would say is a lack of self-awareness. And just, so go to the airport and watch the way people are. They lack that self-awareness. And so oftentimes men lack a bit of self-awareness in that how they come off, how they're approached, just the things that are going on around them, and not focusing on the true things that they should be focused on in their life, and just recognizing who they are, their identity in Christ, and focusing on all the wrong things.
Is there a personal example you can provide of this? I get the airport thing because just seen that recently in the last month. I'm like, wow, people just walk around like, this is your airport. Doesn't matter what's going on around. This is just your place, and you can this is your house, your living room. You just walk around and do whatever you want. I'm like, wow. So I see that in a lot of places, not just the airport. I see it in any place that's a busy, maybe place that's a shopping area. People just walk around like, they got coffee in one hand and their phone up in one hand in front of their face. It's like, you know what? This is my world. You just live in it.
You just get to live in it.
You just trying to get nut in this place. That's what you are. I'm like, wow. So is there an example of what you've seen, without any kind of names or unique identifiers, of course, but where you've seen a man who just didn't exemplify what you were talking about just now?
Yeah. So I've got an individual that former military, a lot of PTSD.
Wow.
And one of the things that he is completely, his identity is wrapped up in trying to be a super Christian. And he, instead of recognizing that people are human, and instead of recognizing that people have different lifestyles, and we still need to provide care, we still need to care for them, we still need to show them that they are important, he absolutely refuses to visit them. He's a chaplain, actually, and he absolutely refuses to visit them. He refuses to visit Muslims. He refuses to visit homosexual patients, and he hides behind his some of his wrong theology. And I think when we get wrapped up in things that we may not agree with, and we refuse to provide the care or do the things or meet people's needs because they don't live a lifestyle the way that we think that they should live, I think then that causes us to have a disconnect. Makes sense. I don't think we're authentic.
Makes sense. Is there an approach that you take as a leadership coach to help break limiting beliefs in men, maybe in the business framework, or even just spiritually, as far as they're finding their purpose? Is there an approach that you take to helping them break limiting beliefs? Because those things, they're so pervasive. I hear about it so much. I'm like, wow, this is a real thing, a real living organism that we got to fight off almost every day. People talk about imposter syndrome and all these little phrases they use, but it's like, wow, the limiting belief thing is a huge monster. It's a megalodon, if you will. It's huge, and we got to fight it off constantly. Do you have an approach to dealing with that with men in business or men on the spiritual side?
Well, I think that in general, most of us we don't have a fear of failure. We have a fear of success. And we have this, John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid, right? And that we have this lid of, we've made this much money, we've gotten to this level of success. If I break that lid, if I break that ceiling, I don't know what to do. And most of us are not strong enough, committed enough to break that lid and go, okay, this is unknown territory. I'm willing to push through, surround myself with the people that I need to surround myself with. And so I do a couple of things. One, I encourage men to get around other men that are more successful than they are.
Well, it's a smart approach. Yeah.
Quit talking to your broke uncle, your broke cousin that has failed at everything that they've done, asking for their advice, because they're not going to give it to you.
Oh my goodness. So
when we surround ourselves and humble ourselves, be willing to humble and go, hey, you've been there, done that. Can I, as a matter of fact, I got invited to go visit James Malinchak at his house in a couple of weeks to do a 2-day mastermind with him. And he was on the Secret Millionaire. He's done things with the guy that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and all those books. I mean, James Malinchak is multi-millionaire speaker, coach. And so when he sent the invite, I'm like, I'm on it. I'm coming out there, whatever it takes to get out to spend 2 days with you. But I just shared with somebody yesterday, I was messaging and they said, you don't know what I'm capable of. And I said, oh, but you're wrong. I said, I've got a gift to see the potential in people. And my gift is to pull that potential out and to help people understand the potential that they've got. But I also realize that they've got to do the work. They've got to dig deep. I'm there to facilitate and coach that working of them pulling that potential out of themselves, because when it comes to coaching, the answers are deep within themselves. They know what they need to do already. And it's recognizing that once you raise that lid and you get to that next level, you've got the potential to go to even another higher level. But the problem that I see is that we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to the choir. I'm my own worst enemy. Somebody can look at me and say, man, you've accomplished. And when I look back at when I joined the Army, 17 years ago, and I walked on to Fort Jackson to the officer basic, I thought, man, what in the world have I got myself into? Second lieutenant, dumb as a box of rocks. Fast forward 17 years. If you'd have told me then that I would make lieutenant colonel, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of funny. I'm just looking to get to captain. And here I am. And at each level, I've had to learn to humble myself and go, okay, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm willing to learn.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Really good. I think we got time for a couple more questions.
Okay.
But and I know you're passionate about your chaplaincy. Every time we've gotten together and talked, it's come through. What do you dislike most about the job?
What do I dislike?
Yes, sir.
This is going to sound harsh, but stupid people.
It is harsh. But it's okay. We do harsh on this show. It's good.
people that are, and when I say stupid, I'm talking about people that are want everything handed to them. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to go and research and find and figure out. They're not willing to, to put themselves out there. And it's like, I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm not your mama. Part of what I do in clinical pastoral education and what I encourage people the men in my mastermind, it's adult learning. It's an andragogical. It's adult. You're having to learn how to put yourself out there. I'm not going to just give you all the answers because that's never going to help you. And if I do that, you're never going to accomplish anything. But what frustrates me the most is when they, they're used to going to college and everything's, they can AI everything and Google everything, but just people that are not willing to do the work, or invest in themselves.
Yeah, that is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by resources and opportunities and people that can help us. I mean, we talked about this kind of stuff a lot on all of our men's work online and even off camera. And it's like, man, you have more than you think you have. Reach out. You utilize that stuff. You got a mastermind that you're building. This is not just with folks in the Army, right? Your mastermind is for people outside of the Army too. Is that?
Yeah. So my mastermind group is for men that are, 25 and older that want to be surrounded by like-minded men. We keep our groups small. And so we duplicate that. Every week they've got an opportunity to be somebody's got an opportunity to be men in the middle. They can bring whatever they want to the group. And even that becomes one of those things where they're calling me, what am I supposed to prepare? What do you need help with? What do you need? Where do you need to get focused? Just sit and ask the guys questions that can help you, but they want to overthink it. And if it weren't for masterminds that I've been a part of, I know, and I can promise you, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Talk about it. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, if we don't surround ourselves, we will sit and do nothing. But when we surround ourselves with people that are willing to push us, hold us accountable, and it's not even about pulling us, it's about pushing us to get to that next level. Even if you can't see the next level, even if you don't know what that is, surrounding yourself with people that are willing to push you to get there. Because that's, we're not meant to stay stagnant. I think Zig Ziglar once said, you're either going forward or you're going backwards. You're not staying where you're at.
Yeah. I didn't know that about him, but I'm a big fan of his work, but I love that quote. Definitely going to be using it from time to time.
You can't stay where you're at. You got to either move forward or you're going backwards. And that's true.
People think neutral is the actual position. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But that's another story, different show. But last question, Scott, and then if you don't mind, let folks know where they can find you and your work. For a man that's listening who feels disconnected today or out of alignment, what is the first real step for them to kind of take towards the becoming whole again? What's their first real step?
I would say find find a battle buddy.
Find a battle buddy. Okay.
In the Army, we use the term battle buddy, and nobody goes into war by themselves. Nobody goes alone. I, as a chaplain, I don't carry a weapon. I've got a chaplain assistant that's kind of my bodyguard that goes with me everywhere I go. But we are not meant to live in isolation. God created, God said, where two or more are gathered, there you are also. And so I would say find a battle buddy that's willing to walk through the fire with you. And the second thing is, and one of the things that we encourage in the mastermind group is to learn to be vulnerable. The more vulnerable you are, the more you're going to grow. And I've seen it time and time again. The times when I've been vulnerable and said, I don't know, or I don't think I can, or I've got, I'm struggling with this, have been the times that have pushed me out of my comfort zone the most, because I was willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. And we don't have all the answers.
Yeah. Thank you for being so transparent, brother. Really appreciate it, man. Let folks know where they can find you and your work, brother.
Yeah. So the biggest place is communitychaplainnetwork.org or goboldlymastermind.com.
Goboldlymastermind.com.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're going to get up on the screen for you. And what are people going to find when they get there? Let us know real quick.
So on the Community Chaplain Network, there's access to me there. The Go Boldly Mastermind is an opportunity to sign up to join the men's mastermind group. It's literally an application and invitation only. And so we don't want just anybody coming in. We want people that are willing to give value as much as they're going to take value. So I'll hold an interview with them and figure out if they're a good fit. And then we've made it so affordable right now that it's $100 a month currently for a kind of a founder's fee, a founder's rate of investment, so that we can attract a little bit more men. And then I'm encouraging those men to bring men. So one of the things that I want to do is help and challenge as many men as possible to become the man that God created them to be.
Thank you so much, sir. For those guys are listening and not watching, communitychaplainnetwork.org, goboldlymastermind.com, where you can find Scotland's work. I'll say it one more time, communitychaplainnetwork.org and goboldlymastermind.com. Scott Speight, thanks for being here, man, and being part of this conversation, man. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate all the work you're doing, and thanks for the invite.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks for watching the Men's Interview Spotlight. That's Scott Speight. I'm Mr. U. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching. Listen, guys, husbands, fathers, brothers, and sons, you're not alone. We're here with you. Thanks for
Men's Roundtable Series, step inside. Real men, real faith, where the truths collide. Voices at the table where the stories get shared. Welcome to the Men's Roundtable. Pull up a chair.